My beloved child, come closer for a moment and stop pretending that you are not tired. I have watched you carry responsibilities that no one else fully understands. I have seen you answer messages when your heart wanted silence. I have seen you smile at people while your thoughts were heavy. I have seen you keep showing up, keep solving problems, keep comforting others, and keep telling yourself that you would rest later, but later kept moving farther away. You told yourself that you only needed to finish one more task. You only needed to survive one more difficult week. You only needed to hold yourself together until everyone else was okay. Yet every time the moment for rest came near, another need appeared, another worry entered your mind, and another burden found its way into your hands. My beloved child, put those burdens down for a moment. Most people see the part of you that remains dependable. They see the person who arrives, responds, helps, listens, and keeps everything moving. They do not always see what it costs you to remain that person. They do not hear the thoughts that continue after the room becomes quiet. They do not feel the tightness that settles in your chest when another day asks more from you than you believe you have left. But I see it. I see the moment your shoulders rise without you noticing. I see the way your breathing becomes shallow when too many concerns gather at once. I see the tiredness behind your eyes even after you have slept. I see the part of you that wants someone to say, "You do not have to be strong every minute." So hear me say it now. You do not have to be strong every minute. Take a slow breath. Let the air enter without forcing it. Let it leave without rushing. Unclench your hands. Lower your shoulders. Allow your face to rest. For this moment, you are not responsible for fixing everything. You are not required to predict what comes next. You are not being measured by how much you can endure without asking for help. My beloved child, your tiredness is not a failure. It is a message. It is your body telling you that you have been moving without enough restoration. It is your mind telling you that it has carried too many unfinished conversations, too many possible outcomes, and too many fears at the same time. It is your heart telling you that it has been giving from places that needed care themselves. Do not silence that message. When Elijah sat beneath the tree and believed he had nothing left, I did not begin by scolding him. I gave him rest. I gave him food. I gave him time before I gave him another direction. Remember that. Even a faithful heart can become exhausted. Even a courageous person can reach a place where the next holy step is not more effort but receiving care. Sometimes rest is the road I am asking you to take. You have spent so long listening for danger that quietness now feels unfamiliar. When nothing is wrong, your mind begins searching for what might be wrong. When the day becomes calm, part of you prepares for the calm to disappear. You learned this because difficult seasons trained you to remain alert. You survived by noticing changes, reading moods, and preparing for what others might do. That awareness protected you once, but now it is exhausting you. My beloved child, you are no longer standing in every moment that first taught you to be afraid. The room has changed. The season has changed. Some of the storms you keep preparing for have already passed. Yet your heart still behaves as though thunder is about to break above you. Let me teach your heart a new rhythm. You do not need to wake each morning already fighting a battle that has not begun. You do not need to rehearse every painful possibility before breakfast. You do not need to carry other people's emotions as proof that you love them. You do not need to become smaller, quieter, or more useful in order to deserve gentleness. You are allowed to be human in my presence. You are allowed to say, "I am tired." You are allowed to need comfort before you have found a solution. There is no shame in this honesty. Honesty is where healing opens the door. The heart cannot receive care while it keeps insisting that nothing hurts. The soul cannot rest while it keeps performing strength for an audience that is not even present. So stop performing for me. I do not need the polished version of you. I do not need the steady voice you use when you are afraid. I do not need the smile you wear to keep other people from asking questions. Bring me the real tiredness. Bring me the thoughts you have been hiding. Bring me the frustration, the disappointment, and the quiet anger you feel because you have had to hold so much for so long. I am not intimidated by any of it. My beloved child, you are not difficult to love when you are exhausted. You are not less faithful when you need rest. You are not disappointing me when your strength feels small. I am not standing over you with another demand. I am sitting beside you in the place where you finally stopped running. Remember the shepherd who leads the sheep beside still waters. He does not drive them faster when they are worn down. He leads them toward what restores them. That is what I am doing with you now. Let this moment be a beginning, not a dramatic promise that you will never feel tired again, not a sudden decision to change your whole life before tomorrow, just a beginning, a small return to truth, a quiet agreement that you will stop ignoring what your heart has been trying to tell you. You are tired and you need care. That truth does not make you weak, it makes you honest. And honesty is where I can meet you without the walls, without the performance, and without the pressure to prove that you can carry everything alone. Stay here with me a little longer. The world can wait for a moment. The unfinished tasks can remain unfinished. The questions can stay unanswered tonight. Breathe again, my beloved child. You are safe enough to pause, you are loved enough to rest, and you are not carrying this alone anymore. My beloved child, remain here with me. You have now allowed your shoulders to lower. You have admitted that you are tired. Now I want you to notice what your mind tries to do the moment your body becomes still. It runs ahead. Before this day has even finished, your thoughts have already entered tomorrow. They are searching every possible path, opening every unopened door, and imagining what may be waiting behind it. You replay conversations that have not happened. You prepare answers to questions no one has asked. You build entire storms from one uncertain cloud, and then you exhaust yourself trying to survive the weather inside your own mind. My beloved child, tomorrow is not asking you to carry it tonight. You have confused preparation with protection. You believe that if you considered every painful possibility, nothing could surprise you. If you expected disappointment, it might hurt less. If you planned every response and stayed several steps ahead, perhaps you could prevent life from touching the places already wounded. I understand why you learned this. There were moments when you were caught unprepared. Someone you trusted became distant. A plan collapsed. News arrived that you never expected. After enough moments like that, your heart began to believe that constant alertness was wisdom. But endless worry is not wisdom. It is fear wearing the clothes of responsibility. Wisdom helps you take the next useful step. Fear demands that you solve every step before you begin. Wisdom prepares what can be prepared, then rests. Fear insists there is always one more danger to predict and one more reason not to be at peace. Listen carefully, my beloved child. Not every thought deserves a seat at your table. Some thoughts arrive from old wounds. Some come from exhaustion. Some echo things people once said to you. Some are the mind trying to create certainty because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. A thought can be loud without being true. You do not have to agree with every fearful sentence that passes through your mind. When your thoughts say, everything will fall apart, pause and ask, is that happening now, or am I rehearsing pain? When they say you will not be able to handle what comes, remember how many days you once believed would break you, yet you are still here. When they say, you must solve this tonight, answer gently, I will take the next step when the next step is mine to take. This is how peace begins. Not by forcing the mind into silence, but by refusing to treat every anxious thought as an instruction. My beloved child, remember how I taught the people in the wilderness to receive daily bread. I did not ask them to gather enough for every future month. I gave what was needed for that day. When they stored more because fear said tomorrow might be empty, it could not give them the security they wanted. The lesson was not carelessness. The lesson was trust. Daily bread teaches the heart to live one day at a time. It does not mean you never plan. It means planning does not become your God. It means you do what is yours to do, and then you release what belongs beyond your reach. Tonight has its own grace. Do not spend it borrowing pain from a morning that has not arrived. You may be worried about money, a relationship, your health, your family, or a decision you cannot yet make. I'm not asking you to pretend those concerns are small. I know why they follow you into quiet rooms. I know why your mind circles them when the lights are off. But concern and torment are not the same thing. You can care without carrying every outcome. You can pray without repeating the fear until it becomes the only voice you hear. You can prepare without living as though disaster has already happened. The future you fear is only one possible story, yet anxiety presents it as the only story already written. That is how fear steals from you. It takes a moment that still contains warmth, breath, and possibility, then fills it with suffering from an imagined tomorrow. Do not surrender this moment so easily. Look around you now. Notice what is true in this hour. You are breathing, you are listening. You have made it through every previous day that once felt uncertain. There may still be something gentle near you, a quiet room, a familiar voice, a place to sit, a small sign of care, or simply the chance to begin again after sleep. Receive what is here before fear takes you somewhere else. My beloved child, remember the disciples in the boat. They saw the waves, heard the wind, and believed the storm had already decided their ending. But I was with them in the boat before the sea became calm. My presence was not waiting on the shore after the danger passed. I was present in the middle of their fear. The same is true for you. You keep imagining that peace will arrive after every problem is solved. You tell yourself you will rest when the answer comes, when the relationship changes, when the money is enough, when the test is over, or when the path finally becomes clear. But if peace must wait for perfect circumstances, it will always remain just beyond your reach. Peace begins when you remember who is with you before the storm has finished. So bring me tomorrow without trying to explain every detail. Bring me the meeting, the decision, the possibility, the person, the uncertainty, and the outcome you cannot control. Name what frightens you, then place it into my hands one concern at a time. You may need to do this more than once. That does not mean you failed. Sometimes surrender is repeated because fear returns in waves. Each time it returns, you can return too. You can say, "This belongs to tomorrow. I am living in tonight. I will not make myself suffer twice." Let that sentence settle in your heart. You do not need to suffer tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. If difficulty comes, grace will meet you there. Strength will meet you there. Wisdom will meet you there. You will not enter that moment with only the energy you possess tonight. I will be present in that moment, just as I am present with you now. For tonight your assignment is smaller. Breathe, rest, release the conversation you keep rehearsing. Stop checking the locked door of the future, as though worry could make it open sooner. Let unanswered questions remain unanswered until their time comes. My beloved child, you have carried enough imagined weight for one day. Put down what has not happened. Put down what has not been asked of you. Put down the responsibility for controlling every path your life could take. Tomorrow will bring its own decisions. Tonight is asking you to trust. And as you begin to release the future, you will notice something deeper. The need to control every outcome has been exhausting your heart for years. Stay with me. That is where we will go next. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun to release tomorrow from your hands. Now notice what happens inside you when you are no longer trying to solve the future. Part of you becomes restless. You are so used to holding everything tightly that letting go can feel more frightening than the burden. Control has felt like a wall against disappointment, a way to convince your heart that pain cannot enter without permission. But control has never given you the peace it promised. It has only kept you awake. You plan conversations before they happen. You prepare explanations no one requested. You imagine reactions so you can avoid being misunderstood. You study changes in another person's voice or silence, then decide what they must mean. My beloved child, this constant watching has exhausted you. You call it being careful. You call it being responsible. You call it staying prepared. But much of it is fear trying to remain in charge. Fear says loosening your grip will cause everything to collapse. It makes vigilance feel like the only thing holding life together. Hear me clearly. You were never meant to hold your whole life together by yourself. You are not the foundation beneath everyone you love. You are not responsible for their choices, emotions, timing, or understanding. You can love deeply without managing every step. You can care about an outcome without forcing its shape. There are things that belong in your hands. Your honesty belongs in your hands. Your effort belongs in your hands. Your choices, boundaries, words, and next faithful action belong in your hands. But another person's response does not. The timing of every answer does not. The opening of every door does not. The complete direction of your future does not. You have been carrying responsibilities I never assigned to you. That is why your heart feels crowded. Imagine sailing while gripping the water with bare hands, believing you must hold the sea still before moving forward. You would spend your strength fighting what was never yours to command. The water would move and your hands would become empty. This is what control has been doing to your soul. You have been trying to hold moving water. My beloved child, open your hands. Do not do it because every situation suddenly feels safe. Do it because your hands need to become available for what I am giving you today. A closed fist cannot receive fresh direction. A heart consumed with controlling the outcome cannot notice the guidance already present. Remember Abraham when I called him beyond what was familiar. I did not show the entire road. I gave enough direction for the next act of trust. He moved without possessing every detail. You often ask me for a complete map when I am giving you a lamp. A lamp does not reveal the entire journey. It gives enough light for the next steps. That may feel insufficient to the part of you that wants certainty, but it is enough for faith. Control demands the whole map. Trust receives the lamp. I know why trust feels difficult for you. People promised to stay and then left. Plans changed without warning. You gave your best and still could not prevent loss. Those experiences taught your heart that safety depended on seeing everything early and preparing for pain before it arrived. Do not shame yourself for learning that lesson. You were trying to survive. But a survival habit can remain long after danger has passed. What once helped you endure can later keep you from resting. What once protected your heart can later prevent your heart from receiving love, peace, and surprise. You do not need to destroy every protective habit in one day. Begin with honesty. Notice where control is taking more from you than it gives. Notice the relationships where you keep trying to manage how others see you. Notice the decisions where you wait for perfect certainty before taking a reasonable step. Notice the moments when you repeat the same thought, hoping another round of worry will produce an answer. It will not. Worry often disguises itself as work, but it produces no real movement. It keeps the mind busy while the heart stays trapped. My beloved child, you are allowed to stop thinking about a problem for a while. A pause is not neglect. Rest is not irresponsibility. Stepping away does not mean you no longer care. Sometimes distance allows wisdom to enter where panic has been speaking too loudly. Remember Martha moving quickly while Mary sat near me. Martha believed everything depended on her activity. Her service was not wrong, but anxiety turned service into pressure. She stood in my presence and still felt alone with responsibility. You have done the same. You have prayed while believing the outcome depended completely on you. You have asked for guidance while carrying every possibility as though I were not involved. You have said you trusted me, then returned to the same fear minutes later. I am not condemning you for that. Trust is learned through repetition. Each time your mind reaches for control, gently return it to me. Each time fear says, you must solve everything, now answer, I will do what is mine and release what is not. Do not wait until surrender feels effortless. Choose it while your hands still want to close. Choose it when uncertainty remains. Choose it when you cannot see how the situation will end. This is not passivity. It is not giving up. It is not refusing responsibility. It is the mature decision to stop pretending you possess authority over things no human heart was created to command. Take one slow breath now. Think of the situation you have been holding most tightly. Perhaps it is a person you are afraid to lose. Perhaps it is an answer you need. Perhaps it is a door that has not opened, a plan that keeps changing, or a future that refuses to become clear. Name it before me. Then say, I will not force what I cannot control. Let that truth enter slowly. You may still feel afraid after saying it. That is all right. Surrender is not measured by the immediate disappearance of fear. It is measured by the decision not to let fear direct every movement. My beloved child, I can carry what your hands cannot. I can work in places you cannot reach. I can speak to hearts you cannot change. I can open a path you cannot create. I can also close a path that would have taken more from you than you understood. Your task is not to control every result. Your task is to remain honest, willing, attentive, and faithful in the part that belongs to you. As you loosen your grip, something hidden may begin to rise. Old memories, old fears, old moments when trust was broken and you decided you would never be unprepared again. Do not run from what rises. Those wounds are not appearing to punish you. They are asking to be seen with gentleness. Stay with me, my beloved child. We are ready to bring them into the light. My beloved child, stay here with me as those old memories begin to rise. You may want to push them down. You may tell yourself too much time has passed, or that opening those places again will only make you weaker. But what is rising is not asking to destroy you. It is asking to be cared for. Some wounds in your heart never received the attention they needed. Life kept moving. Responsibilities kept calling, and others expected you to continue as though nothing had changed. So you learned to function around the pain. You smiled, worked, served, and prayed without admitting how deeply it still hurt. My beloved child, functioning is not the same as healing. You can carry a wound for years and still become skilled at hiding it. You can laugh, serve, succeed, and encourage others, while one part of your heart remains frozen in a moment no one else remembers. Then something small happens. A person changes their tone. A message goes unanswered. Someone becomes distant without explanation. A promise is delayed. A familiar expression crosses another face. And suddenly the past feels present again. Your reaction may seem larger than the moment. You may become afraid, angry, quiet, or ready to leave. Then you judge yourself because you do not understand why it affected you so deeply. The new moment may have touched an old injury. When a bruise is hidden beneath clothing, a gentle touch can still hurt. The touch is not always the whole reason for the pain. It simply reveals what was already tender underneath. This is why I am asking you not to shame yourself. Your heart learned from what happened. If love once disappeared without warning, you learned to watch for distance. If honesty was used against you, you learned to hide what mattered. If safety ended in betrayal, you learned to doubt kindness. Those responses were not born because you were difficult. They were born because you were trying to protect what remained. For a season, protection helped you survive. You became careful. You noticed changes quickly. You stopped offering trust too easily. You built a gate around the softest rooms of your heart. But a gate that never opens does more than keep danger out. It also keeps comfort outside. My beloved child, I am not asking you to remove every boundary. Wisdom matters. Not every person deserves access to your private pain. Forgiveness does not require foolishness, and love does not ask you to ignore repeated harm. I am asking you to learn the difference between a boundary and a prison. A boundary protects your peace while allowing healthy love to approach. A prison keeps everyone at a distance because the heart assumes every person will become the person who hurt you before. Your past taught you to expect repetition. But not every new chapter is written by the same hand. Not every silence is abandonment. Not every disagreement is rejection. Not every mistake is betrayal. Not every person who needs time is preparing to leave. Your wounded heart may respond as though the old danger has returned even when the present moment is different. That does not mean you are broken beyond repair. It means part of you still needs help learning that the past is over. I want to meet you in the memory you keep avoiding. You do not have to describe every detail or force yourself to feel more than you can carry today. Just notice the frightened part of you that learned to stand alone. What did that part of you need? Perhaps you needed someone to believe you. Perhaps you needed protection. Perhaps you needed an apology that never came. Perhaps you needed to hear that what happened was not your fault. Perhaps you needed someone to remain beside you instead of rushing you to move on. My beloved child, I was not disgusted by your pain then, and I am not impatient with it now. Remember how I met Hagar in the wilderness. She had been used, mistreated, and sent away. She believed she was alone in a place with no future. Yet I found her there. I saw what others ignored. I spoke to the woman everyone else had pushed aside. She called me the God who sees. That is who I am with you. I see the wound beneath the reaction. I see the fear beneath the anger. I see the longing beneath the distance. I see the tired child beneath the strong adult who learned never to need anyone. You do not have to explain your pain perfectly before I understand it. Bring me what you can name. Bring me what still confuses you. Bring me the memories that arrive without warning. Bring me the questions that never received answers. Healing does not require you to pretend the wound was smaller than it was. It begins when truth is allowed to stand in the light without being minimized. You were hurt. Something important was lost. Trust was damaged. Your heart adapted. Those things can all be true without becoming the final definition of your life. My beloved child, your wound may explain why you became guarded, but it does not have to decide how you will love forever. You can learn safety slowly. You can offer trust in measured ways. You can speak honestly when fear tells you to disappear. You can pause before assuming that the present will repeat the past. This will take patience. There may be days when you respond from old fear again. Do not call those moments proof that healing failed. Growth often appears in the space between a trigger and a reaction. First, there may be one breath, then one honest question, then a different choice. Do not demand that your heart become fearless overnight. A branch bent by years of wind does not straighten in one morning. It needs steady, light, patient care and time to remember how to grow toward the open sky. Let me give you that kind of care. Let safe people give you that kind of care. Let your own words become gentler when old pain rises. Instead of saying, "What is wrong with me?" begin asking, "What part of me feels unsafe right now?" Instead of saying, "I should be over this," say, "I am still learning how to feel safe." Instead of disappearing without explanation, try naming what was touched inside you. Honesty can become a doorway where fear once built a wall. My beloved child, there is tenderness alive within you. The old wounds did not destroy it. Even after disappointment, you still desire connection. Even after betrayal, you still hope for trust. Even after being unseen, you still long to be known. That longing is not weakness. It is evidence that pain did not take everything. Stay with me as your heart begins to understand this. You did not become strong because nothing hurt you. You became strong because you kept moving while carrying injuries no one could see. But now we must speak honestly about what that strength became. Survival helped you endure. It was never meant to become your identity. My beloved child, survive carried you through seasons, but it was never meant to become the name you answer to. You learned how to smile when disappointment sat behind your eyes. You learned how to finish the day even when part of you wanted to disappear into silence and be free. That strength mattered. It helped you endure. But now I want you to see the difference between surviving a difficult season and building your life around survival. When survival becomes your identity, every day begins to feel like an emergency. Even problems arrive with the weight of a crisis. A delayed message feels like rejection. A change in plans feels like danger. A small mistake feels like proof that everything is about to fall apart. Your body stays prepared for impact. Your mind keeps scanning. Your heart rarely settles. My beloved child, you have been living as though peace must be earned after every problem is solved. You keep telling yourself, "I will rest when this week is over. I will breathe when this situation changes. I will feel safe when everyone around me is okay." But one season ends and another begins. One responsibility is completed and another appears. The finish line keeps moving and your heart keeps waiting for permission to live. I did not create you to make it through the day. I created you to receive joy without suspicion, to experience rest without guilt, to laugh without wondering how quickly the moment will disappear, to love without assuming loss is on its way. Survival taught you to reduce life into what must be managed, what must be paid, what must be fixed, what must be prevented, what must be endured. But life with me contains more than management. There is beauty to notice. There is kindness to receive. There are moments that do not need to become productive. There are conversations that are not problems to solve. There are days when nothing dramatic happens, and that ordinary peace is a gift. You may not know how to receive those gifts. Calm can make you uncomfortable because your heart has become familiar with tension. When the room is quiet, you listen for trouble. When someone treats you kindly, you search for the hidden cost. When something good begins, you prepare emotionally for its ending. This does not mean you are ungrateful. It means your heart has been trained by pressure. My beloved child, a guard who has watched the gate through dangerous nights may continue standing even after morning has come. The sun can rise, the road can become quiet, and the guard may not know how to leave the post. You have stood at that gate. You have watched for disappointment. You have watched for conflict. You have watched for the moment when someone might need you. You have watched for any sign that life is becoming unsafe. Now, I am not asking you to abandon wisdom. I am asking you to recognize that dawn has reached places inside you that still believe it is night. You do not need to remain on duty every hour. Remember the Israelites after they left Egypt. Their bodies had crossed into freedom, but their thinking still carried the habits of slavery. They had lived so long under pressure that freedom itself felt uncertain. They wanted the familiar pain because unfamiliar freedom required trust. You return to overworking because rest feels unfamiliar. You return to worry because peace feels too open. You return to controlling because surrender feels like stepping into a land without walls. But familiar pain is not safety. You can leave the place that trained you to survive without losing the strength you gained. Your resilience will not disappear when you rest. Your wisdom will not vanish when you stop expecting disaster. Your courage will not weaken when you allow yourself to receive care. You are not becoming careless, you are becoming whole. My beloved child, notice how often you describe yourself only by what you have survived. You say, I am the one who keeps going. I am the one who handles things. I am the one who does not fall apart. Those words may sound strong, but they can become a prison. What happens when you need help? What happens when you do not have the answer? What happens when your strength feels small? If your identity rests on being the one who never breaks, then every moment will feel like failure. But I do not call you by your endurance. You are not only the one who survived. You are the one I love. You are the one I guide. You are the one I restore. You are the one whose heart can become soft without becoming unsafe. You are the one who can learn peace without losing strength. Let those truths become larger than the labels. You do not have to prove your value by carrying more than everyone. You do not have to stay exhausted to show that you are faithful. You do not have to keep rescuing every situation to deserve a place in the lives of others. There is a difference between being dependable and becoming responsible for everything. One is love, the other is fear, wearing the face of duty. Take a slow breath now. Ask yourself what you have been doing, only because stopping makes you afraid. Ask yourself what burden you keep carrying because you do not know who you would be without it. Perhaps you have become so identified with being needed that receiving help feels like losing your purpose. Perhaps you have lived in crisis so long that a peaceful day feels empty. Perhaps you have mistaken exhaustion for importance. My beloved child, you matter even when no one needs you in the moment. Your existence has value before you solve anything. Your presence matters before you produce anything. Your heart is worthy of care even when it has nothing left to offer. This is not a small truth. It is the beginning of a new way of living. You can wake without preparing for battle. You can move through the day without treating every interruption as a threat. You can pause before saying yes. You can allow joy to remain joy without searching for the shadow behind it. You can sit in my presence without bringing a list of emergencies. I am teaching you to live from trust instead of defense. This will happen slowly. Some days your old survival habits will return before you notice them. You may begin rushing, fixing, controlling, or carrying. Do not punish yourself. Pause and remember, I am no longer required to live as though everything depends on me. Return to the breath, return to the present, return to me. My beloved child, survival brought you here, but peace will carry you forward. The next part of healing is learning that you do not have to walk this road alone. For too long you have believed that asking for help would make you weak. Stay close to me. We are ready to release that burden next. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun to understand that survival was never meant to become your identity. Now I want to speak to the belief that has kept you tired. You believe you must carry everything alone. You live as though asking for help is dangerous. You try to solve problems before anyone notices you are struggling. You hold your emotions inside until they become heavy enough to affect your sleep, your breathing, and the way you move through each day. You tell yourself that other people already have enough to handle. You tell yourself that your pain is not serious enough. You tell yourself that you should be able to manage, so you keep carrying. My beloved child, this is not the strength I ask from you. There is strength in responsibility and perseverance, but there is also strength in honesty. There is strength in admitting that a burden has become too heavy. There is strength in allowing another person to stand beside you. You learn to avoid that kind of strength because support did not always come when you needed it. Someone promised to be present, then disappeared. Perhaps you shared something tender and watched another person minimize it or use it against you later. Your heart remembered. It decided that depending on others was unsafe. It built self-reliance like a shelter around your pain. For a while, that shelter protected you. It taught you how to survive when no one else seemed ready to help. I am not asking you to despise the strength you developed. I am asking you to see what happened when protection became isolation. A shelter can keep out the rain, but if you never open the door, it can also keep out the people carrying warmth. My beloved child, you were never created to be an island. From the beginning, I formed people for relationship support and shared joy. Even Moses, who spoke with me and led a nation through the wilderness, reached a place where he tried to carry every question and conflict by himself. His father-in-law watched him grow exhausted and told him that what he was doing was not good. The burden was too heavy for one person. Others needed to help carry the responsibility. Moses did not become less called when he accepted help. He became much wiser. Remember that when pride or fear tells you that needing support makes you weak, you do not become less faithful when you ask someone to pray with you. You do not become less capable when you admit you are overwhelmed. You do not lose your dignity when you say, "I do not know what to do next." Sometimes those words are the first doorway to wisdom. My beloved child, I often answer your prayers through people. You may ask me for comfort, and I send someone who knows how to listen. You may ask me for strength, and I place a trustworthy hand near the weight you are carrying. You may ask me for direction, and I allow another voice to ask the question you were too tired to ask yourself. But if you reject every form of help because it does not arrive as a private miracle, you may overlook the answer already standing beside you. This does not mean you should trust everyone. Wisdom still matters deeply. Not every person knows how to hold your story with care. Not every relationship is safe enough for deep honesty. Do not hand your vulnerable places to people who repeatedly show carelessness. But there is a difference between discernment and permanent distance. Discernment asks, who has shown patience, consistency, humility, and respect? Fear says no one can ever be trusted. Discernment opens slowly. Fear locks every door. I want you to begin with one honest step. Think of one person who has shown kindness without demanding performance. One person who does not rush to fix you. One person whose presence feels steady rather than confusing. You can begin with one true sentence. I have been more tired than I have admitted. I need someone to listen. Please pray with me. I am carrying something I do not know how to handle alone. Small honesty can loosen a burden that silence has tightened for years. My beloved child, let yourself receive without immediately trying to repay. This may feel uncomfortable. You are used to being useful. You know how to give advice, bring comfort, solve problems, and make room for other people's pain. Receiving care may leave you feeling exposed because you cannot control how you are seen. You may feel the urge to laugh away your need, change the subject, or quickly help the person who is trying to help you. Pause. Let the kindness remain directed toward you. You do not have to earn every act of care by becoming useful again. You are allowed to receive because you are loved, not because you have created a debt. Even I chose not to walk through earthly suffering without human companionship. In the garden, I asked my closest friends to remain near and keep watch. Their weakness did not cancel the truth that the desire for companionship was real. Needing presence is not failure, it is human. My beloved child, you also need to learn what belongs to you and what belongs to others. Carrying everything alone often includes carrying things that were never yours. You absorb another person's mood and believe you must fix it. You take responsibility for choices you did not make. You feel guilty when someone is disappointed by a healthy boundary. You keep rescuing people from consequences that might teach them what your words cannot. Love does not require you to become the answer to every need. You can stand beside someone without becoming their savior. You can care without controlling. You can help without abandoning yourself. You can say no without becoming cruel. You can step back without losing compassion. There are burdens I ask you to share, burdens I ask you to release, and burdens that belong entirely in my hands. Ask me for wisdom to know the difference. Take a slow breath now. Imagine setting down the load you have carried across so many seasons. Notice how deeply your hands have pressed into it. Notice the fear that says someone must hold it and that someone must always be you. Now hear me say this clearly. You are not alone. I am with you, and I am teaching you to recognize the safe people I have placed along your path. Let them walk beside you. Let them help you carry what can be shared. Let them witness the part of you that is tired without apologizing for being tired. My beloved child, isolation has protected you from disappointment, but it has also kept certain pain sealed inside. Some of that pain has hardened into resentment. Some of it is connected to people who should have helped but did not. Stay close to me. We are ready to speak about the bitterness that still keeps part of your heart tied to yesterday. My beloved child, stay close to me, as we speak about the pain you have carried from people who should have treated your heart with greater care. Some names still change the atmosphere inside you. You may not speak about them often. You may have stopped telling the story. You may even believe you have moved on. Yet when a certain memory returns, anger rises again. A conversation begins replaying. A question without an answer opens. The injustice feels fresh, as though yesterday quietly entered the room and sat beside you. I understand why. What happened mattered. You were wounded in ways that were real. Someone may have betrayed your trust, dismissed your pain, used your kindness, or walked away without taking responsibility for the damage left behind. Perhaps they continued with their life while you were left carrying confusion, grief, and questions they never tried to answer. My beloved child, I will not ask you to call wrong things right. I will not ask you to pretend the injury was small. I will not ask you to welcome unsafe people back into places they repeatedly harmed. Forgiveness is not denial. Forgiveness is not permission. Forgiveness is not forgetting wisdom. It is the decision to stop allowing yesterday to control the emotional temperature of today. Bitterness feels powerful at first. It tells you that holding on will protect your dignity. It promises that if you remain angry enough, the wrong will stay visible, and the person who hurt you will somehow be forced to understand. But bitterness rarely reaches the person who caused the wound. It remains inside the one who carries it. It follows you into quiet mornings. It enters new relationships. It changes the way you interpret kindness. It keeps your body tense around people who have never harmed you. It turns old pain into a lens through which every new moment is judged. My beloved child, bitterness is like drinking from a cup you hoped would make someone else thirsty. It does not punish them the way your wounded heart imagined. It drains you. You have already given enough of your life to what happened. Do not give it your future too. I know part of you fears that releasing anger will make the injury seem unimportant. You worry that peace will erase the truth. You fear that moving forward means the person escaped without consequence. But I saw what happened. Nothing needs to remain burning inside you for me to remember it. Justice does not depend on your ability to stay emotionally chained to the scene of the wound. You can release the burden without rewriting the truth. You can choose peace while still naming the behavior as harmful. You can forgive while keeping a wise boundary in place. Remember Joseph. His brothers betrayed him, sold him, and allowed years of suffering to unfold from their decision. When he later stood before them with power in his hands, forgiveness did not mean the past had become acceptable. It meant the past would no longer decide the kind of man he would become. He did not call betrayal good. He refused to let betrayal have the final word. That is the freedom I am inviting you toward. My beloved child, you do not have to feel ready before you begin. Forgiveness is often not a single emotional moment. It can be a choice repeated many times. You may release the person today, then wake tomorrow and feel the anger return. That does not mean your first decision was false. It means the wound is being untangled layer by layer. Each time the memory rises, you can say, "What happened was wrong, but I will not build my home inside it." Each time your mind rehearses the old conversation, you can say, "I no longer need this replay to prove that I was hurt." Each time you imagine the apology you never received, you can say, "My healing will not remain dependent on words another person may never be willing to speak." This is not weakness. It is authority over your own heart. There are answers you may never receive. Some people lack the honesty to face what they did. Some protect their image more fiercely than they protect relationships. Some apologies remain delayed because pride refuses to bend. Do not place the key to your freedom in hands that have already shown they do not know how to hold your heart carefully. Your healing belongs with me. Bring me the anger you are ashamed to admit. Bring me the desire for them to understand. Bring me the part of you that still asks why they could hurt you and continue as though nothing happened. I am not frightened by your honesty. You do not have to clean your emotions before bringing them into my presence. Tell me the truth. Tell me where it still burns. Tell me what you lost. Tell me what you needed and never received. Then allow me to separate your identity from the injury. You are not the rejected one. You are not the betrayed one forever. You are not the person whose story must remain organized around what someone else chose to do. You are my beloved child. You are still capable of peace. You are still capable of trust, though trust may return slowly. You are still capable of love without abandoning wisdom. You are still capable of walking into new relationships without asking them to pay for wounds they did not create. The wound may have changed how you see yourself, but another person's failure to honor your heart never reduced your worth. Their inability to love honestly revealed limitation. It did not reveal a defect in you or cancel my care. This is why forgiveness matters. It clears the old debt from the doorway so new life can enter without tripping over yesterday. Take a slow breath now. Think of the person or moment that still carries the most weight. You do not have to excuse it. You do not have to contact anyone. You do not have to force an emotion you do not feel. Simply begin with willingness. Say, I am willing to become free from what this has done inside me. That is enough for today. Willingness is a small opening, but light enters through small openings. My beloved child, let me teach you how to lay down the stones you have carried through every new season. One stone may be anger. Another may be the need for an explanation. Another may be the hope that the past can somehow be changed if you think about it long enough. Set them down one at a time. Your hands were made for more than carrying evidence of old pain. They were made to receive what is new. As bitterness loosens, another lie may become visible beneath it. You may discover that part of your anger came from believing you were treated badly because you were not valuable enough to be loved well. That lie has exhausted you too. Stay close to me, my beloved child. You do not have to earn the love I already give you. My beloved child, stay close to me and let that truth settle where bitterness once lived. You do not have to earn the love I already give you. Part of your heart has spent years believing the opposite. You learned to measure your worth by how useful you were, how calm you appeared, how much you achieved, and how little trouble you caused. You began to think love arrived after good behavior, strong performance, and perfect control. So you kept improving yourself with fear behind the effort. You tried to become easier to love. You tried to become less emotional, less needy, less uncertain, and less human. You watched your mistakes closely because you believed one failure could make people withdraw. You worked hard to remain impressive, dependable, spiritual, and composed even when your inner world was asking for mercy. My beloved child, love was never meant to feel like an examination you could fail. Real love does not stand at the end of a long hallway waiting for you to become flawless before opening the door. It meets you where you are, tells the truth about what needs healing, and remains present while growth takes place. I do not love an imaginary future version of you. I love you now. I love you while you are still learning. I love you while some prayers remain unfinished. I love you while old habits still need attention. I love you when your faith feels steady, and I love you when your questions feel louder than your confidence. My love is not a payment for progress. It is the ground from which progress can grow. Remember the son who left his father, wasted what he had been given, and returned carrying shame. He prepared a speech because he believed he had lost the right to be called a son. He expected to earn a lesser place through labor, but the father did not wait for a perfect explanation. He ran toward him. He covered him before the village could define him by failure. He restored relationship before the son could prove anything. The embrace came before the improvement. My beloved child, that story reveals my heart. You keep approaching me with a speech prepared. You list what you should have done, what you failed to do, and how you plan to become better. You imagine I am standing at a distance deciding whether your effort is sincere enough, but I am moving toward you. You do not need to persuade me to care. You do not need to impress me with suffering. You do not need to punish yourself to show that you understand your mistake. Come honestly, that is all. I know growth matters. I am not asking you to ignore harmful habits, avoid responsibility, or call every choice acceptable. Love tells the truth. Love corrects what destroys peace. Love invites maturity, but correction without belonging produces fear. Belonging gives the heart enough safety to change. You have tried to transform yourself through shame. You thought harshness would keep you disciplined. You believed calling yourself weak, foolish, or hopeless would force you to improve. It did not. It only made you afraid of your own imperfections. Shame may create temporary obedience, but it cannot create a peaceful heart. It makes you hide. It makes you perform. It makes you avoid the very place where healing could begin. My beloved child, I am not asking you to hide. Bring me the unfinished parts. Bring me the habits you are embarrassed to name. Bring me the places where you feel behind. Bring me the weakness you keep comparing with another person's strength. Nothing you reveal will surprise me. I knew the whole story before you began telling it, and I remained. You have been treating your life like a house that must be repaired before anyone is allowed inside. You keep saying, when I fix this room, when I repair that wall, when I remove every sign of damage, then I will be ready for love. But I am not waiting outside until the work is finished. I am inside the house with you. I am helping rebuild what pain damaged. I am opening windows where shame kept the curtains closed. I am teaching you that restoration happens through presence, not rejection. Stop calling yourself a project that is always behind schedule. You are a person in process. There is a difference. A project is valued for completion. A person is valued because they bear life dignity and my breath. You do not become more precious when you succeed, and you do not become less precious when you stumble. Your choices matter, but they do not create or erase your worth. My beloved child, think about how you speak to someone you truly love when they are struggling. You may correct them, but you do not reduce them to the struggle. You remember the whole person. You leave room for growth. Give yourself some of that grace. When you make a mistake, do not say, "This proves I never change." Say, "This shows me where I still need care and wisdom." When you become overwhelmed, do not say, "I am failing again." Say, "I need to slow down and return to what is true." When you need help, do not say, "I am a burden." Say, "I am human, and I was created for relationship." Grace does not make you careless. Grace makes honest change possible. Fear focuses on appearance. Grace focuses on truth. Fear asks, "How can I hide this?" Grace asks, "What can I learn, repair, and do differently?" Fear says one mistake is your identity. Grace says one mistake can become a teacher without becoming your name. You may still believe that people leave when you stop performing. Some may have. Their limited love taught you to work for acceptance, but their inability to remain did not reveal the measure of your value. It revealed the limit of what they knew how to give. Do not use another person's broken measure to calculate your worth. My love is not unstable like human approval. I do not become warm when you succeed and cold when you struggle. I do not keep a hidden score and wait for you to fail. I remain. Take a slow breath now. Let yourself receive without promising anything in return. You do not need to earn this moment. You do not need to deserve this comfort. You do not need to become stronger before resting in my care. My beloved child, you are already mine. You are loved before the answer, loved before the breakthrough, loved before the habit changes, loved before the apology is accepted, loved while the rebuilding continues. Let this truth loosen the pressure around your heart. You can pursue growth without using hatred against yourself. You can take responsibility without carrying condemnation. You can become wiser without despising who you were. And as my love reaches the places where performance once ruled, another hidden burden will begin to surface, the shame attached to your worst mistakes. Stay close to me. We are ready to separate what you did from who you are. My beloved child, stay close to me as we separate what you did from who you are. There are memories you revisit when the room is quiet. You remember words you wish you had never spoken, choices you would change if time could turn backward, and seasons when fear, loneliness, anger, or confusion led you away from the person you wanted to be. Those memories still carry weight. Sometimes they return without warning. A place, a song, a date, or a familiar expression can bring the whole moment back. Then shame begins speaking as though the past is happening again. It says you ruined everything. It says you should have known better. It says this is who you really are. My beloved child, shame does not know how to tell the whole truth. It takes one chapter and calls it the entire story. It takes one failure and writes it across your identity. It points to the worst moment of your life and tells you that nothing you have learned since then matters. But I have seen every page. I saw the pain that surrounded the choice. I saw the fear you could not explain. I saw the wounds you had not yet learned to recognize. I saw what you understood then and what you did not understand. This does not make harmful choices harmless. It does not erase responsibility. It means your mistake must be faced with truth, not used as a weapon against your soul forever. There is a difference between conviction and condemnation. Conviction says, this choice caused harm. Come back to what is right. Condemnation says, you are the harm. There is no way back. Conviction opens a door. Condemnation locks you in the room. Conviction leads toward repair, wisdom, and change. Condemnation keeps you staring at the same wound until you forget that healing is possible. Learn to recognize which voice you are hearing. My voice may correct you, but it does not humiliate you. I may uncover what needs to change, but I do not expose it to destroy your dignity. I lead you into truth because I love you too much to leave you trapped. Remember Peter. He promised that he would remain faithful, then denied knowing me when fear entered the courtyard. He failed in the very place where he had spoken with the greatest confidence. Afterward, he wept because he knew what he had done. But his failure did not become his final name. I met him again. I did not pretend the denial had never happened. I restored him through honest love. I called him forward, entrusted him with responsibility, and showed him that one frightened night could not cancel the purpose still alive within him. My beloved child, I can restore you too. You may have failed while trying to be loved. You may have stayed where you should have left. You may have left where you should have stayed. You may have hurt someone while protecting your own pain. You may have ignored wisdom because desire spoke louder. You may have broken trust, wasted time, hidden the truth, or chosen the easier road when courage was needed. Face what is true. Apologize where an apology is possible. Repair what can still be repaired. Accept consequences that belong to your choice. Learn what the season came to teach you. But do not build an altar to your failure and spend the rest of your life kneeling before it. Your past is a teacher, not your master. You are allowed to become wiser than the person who made that decision. You are allowed to outgrow the pattern. You are allowed to live differently. My beloved child, some people may continue seeing you through an old version of your story. They may keep using the mistake as the first thing they remember. They may refuse to recognize your growth because your transformation challenges the role they assigned you. You cannot force them to update their understanding, but you do not have to remain inside their definition. Let your changed choices speak over time. Let consistency become your answer. Let humility guide you without letting humiliation become your home. Growth does not need constant announcement. It becomes visible through the way you respond, the boundaries you keep, the truth you tell, and the care you offer after learning what carelessness can cost. I know you wish you could return to certain moments with the wisdom you have now, but you only have that wisdom because you walked through what happened. Do not hate your present self for not being available to guide your past self. The person you were then acted with the understanding wounds, fears, and strength they had at that time. Take responsibility, but also show compassion. You would not demand that a child lift what only an adult has learned to carry. Stop demanding that an earlier version of you possess lessons that were learned later. My beloved child, grace does not erase the lesson. Grace makes the lesson useful. Without grace, pain becomes a prison. With grace, pain can become wisdom. Without grace, regret keeps you looking backward. With grace, regret can teach you how to walk forward with greater care. Think of a scar. A scar does not say the wound never happened. It says the wound did not remain open forever. It becomes evidence that the body knew how to close what once seemed impossible to heal. Your life can carry that kind of evidence. The place of failure can become a place of humility. The place of deception can become a commitment to truth. The place of selfishness can become compassion. The place of weakness can become dependence on me rather than confidence in appearances. Do not waste the pain by refusing to learn from it. And do not waste the lesson by continuing to punish yourself after repentance has already begun changing you. Take a slow breath now. Bring to mind the mistake that still speaks the loudest. Do not run from it. Look at it with me beside you. Say what was wrong. Say what it cost. Then say what you have learned. Finally, say, "This happened in my story, but it is not my whole identity." My beloved child, you are more than the moment you regret. You are also the one who came back. You are the one who became honest. You are the one who is still seeking peace, wisdom, and a cleaner way to live. You are the one who still cares enough to grieve what was harmful. That grief is not proof that you are hopeless. It is proof that your heart is alive. Do not let shame silence the part of you that still reaches toward what is good. The fact that you are listening now means something inside you has not surrendered. Something in you still believes change is possible. Something in you still longs for light. I have not abandoned the future I placed within your heart. Stay close to me, my beloved child. Beneath the regret, beneath the fear, and beneath the years of self-punishment, the hopeful part of you is still alive. My beloved child, stay close to me. Beneath the regret, beneath the fear, and beneath the years of self-punishment, the hopeful part of you is still alive. You may not feel it strongly right now. Hope may not sound like confidence. It may not look like excitement, certainty, or bold expectation. Sometimes hope is only the quiet decision to rise from bed, answer one message, take one breath, and continue through another day. Do not call that small. A tired heart does not always shout its courage. Sometimes courage whispers, "I am still here." There was a time when you trusted more easily. You dreamed without immediately imagining how the dream might fail. You enjoyed good moments without preparing for their ending. You allowed kindness to reach you without first searching for the hidden cost. Then life disappointed you. Promises changed. People left. Prayers seemed unanswered. Doors closed after you had already pictured what life would look like on the other side. Little by little, your heart became careful. You lowered your expectations because disappointment felt less painful when you expected less. You kept your dreams private because speaking them aloud made them feel vulnerable. You stopped celebrating too early because joy had surprised you before by turning into grief. My beloved child, I understand why you became guarded. You were not trying to become cold. You were trying not to be broken again. But protection can slowly become a ceiling. It can keep pain from entering, yet it can also keep possibility from growing. When you refuse to hope, you may avoid one kind of disappointment, but you also close the door on wonder, connection, and the future I am still unfolding. Hope is not foolishness. Hope is not pretending that nothing painful happened. Hope is not trusting every person, ignoring warning signs, or expecting every desire to arrive exactly as you imagined. Hope is the refusal to let one difficult chapter declare itself the ending. It says, "I have known loss, but loss does not know everything that is coming." It says, "I have been disappointed celebrating too early because joy had surprised you before, but disappointment does not own every tomorrow." It says, "I cannot see the full road, but I will not call the darkness permanent." My beloved child, remember Naomi. She returned home carrying grief and believed her story had become empty. She asked to be called by a name that reflected bitterness because sorrow had changed the way she saw herself. Yet while she believed nothing remained, a new chapter was already beginning through loyalty, ordinary work, and a future she could not yet recognize. Her hope did not return through one dramatic moment. It returned through small provisions. This is often how I quietly restore hope, through small evidence that life is still moving. Look carefully at what remains inside you. You still respond when someone speaks with genuine kindness. You still notice beauty, even if only for a moment. You still care about people even after people have hurt you. You still search for meaning. You are listening now because some part of you believes these words might lead somewhere better. Do not ignore it because it feels fragile. A small flame does not need to become a bonfire before it can give light. It only needs protection from the wind and enough fuel to continue. Let me protect that flame. Stop speaking about your future as though disappointment has already signed its name across every page. Stop predicting that good things will disappear simply because other good things did. Stop confusing caution with prophecy. Your past has taught you lessons. It has not been given authority to write every future outcome. My beloved child, you are allowed to expect goodness without demanding a perfect life. You are allowed to welcome joy while knowing that life remains uncertain. You are allowed to love wisely without assuming love must end in betrayal. You are allowed to begin again without having proof that every step will be easy. Hope does not require certainty. It requires willingness. A willingness to leave one window open. A willingness to believe that what you see today is not all that exists. A willingness to let me surprise you in ways your exhausted imagination cannot currently produce. You have spent so much time rehearsing what could go wrong that you have forgotten to leave room for what could be healed. Fear is creative when it describes disaster. Let faith become creative when it imagines restoration. Perhaps the relationship will not return, but your ability to love can. Perhaps the opportunity is gone, but your purpose is not. Perhaps the old plan ended, but a wiser path can still open. Perhaps you will never become the person you once were because I am forming someone deeper, gentler, and more discerning than before. Healing is not always a return to an earlier version of yourself. Sometimes it is the discovery that something beautiful survived the fire and became stronger without becoming hard. My beloved child, do not measure your heart only by what it no longer does easily. Notice what it has learned. You recognize what costs you peace. You understand the value of honesty. You see pain in others that you once would have missed. You have become slower to judge because suffering taught you how complicated a human story can be. These are not signs that life ruined you. They are signs that wisdom has grown through what you endured. Take a slow breath now. Think of one hope you buried because holding it became too painful. You do not have to force it back into its old shape. You do not have to demand a particular result. Simply bring the desire into my presence and say, I am willing to believe that goodness is still possible, even if it arrives differently than I expected. Hope can begin as permission. Permission to stop calling yourself finished. Permission to imagine that peace may become familiar. Permission to believe that your heart can feel safe again. Permission to trust that there are people you have not met, places you have not entered, and moments of grace you cannot currently see. My beloved child, there is still warmth ahead of you. There are conversations that will not require you to hide. There are mornings when your first thought will not be fear. There are quiet moments that will not feel empty. There are answers that may come gently long after you stop demanding them. Do not rush the return of hope. Let it grow like morning light across a room, touching one corner before filling the whole space. You do not need to see everything clearly yet. You only need to stop closing the curtains. I am still working in places beyond your view. I am still planting meaning inside seasons you once called wasted. I am still using what you survived to shape compassion, wisdom, and courage within you. Your story is not moving backward simply because progress feels slow. Stay close to me, my beloved child. The hopeful part of you is still alive, and its continued reaching is evidence that your life is still moving toward meaning. My beloved child, stay close to me. The hopeful part of you is still alive, and that hope is not reaching into an empty future. Your life is still moving toward meaning, even when the road feels quiet, unfinished, or confusing. I know there have been days when you looked at your life and wondered whether anything was truly changing. You saw dreams remain incomplete. Prayers seemed to disappear into silence. Plans shift. Relationships change, and opportunities close before you understood why. Then discouragement began whispering that perhaps your effort was leading nowhere. My beloved child, do not judge the whole journey from the middle of one difficult stretch. You are standing inside a chapter that has not yet revealed what it is preparing. A seed beneath the soil may look like nothing is happening. The ground appears still. No branch reaches toward the sun. Yet beneath that quiet earth, life is moving, roots are forming, and strength is developing where no one can see it. You wanted visible progress, but I was building depth. You wanted quick answers, but I was forming endurance. You wanted the door to open, but I was teaching you how to recognize which doors should never hold your future. You wanted relief, but I was also developing wisdom that comfort alone could not produce. This does not mean I caused every painful thing that happened to you. Human choices, loss, and a broken world have brought real sorrow. I do not ask you to call every wound good, but I can bring meaning from places that once seemed empty. I can use what tried to silence you to deepen your voice. I can use what made you feel unseen to teach you how to notice the overlooked. I can use the season when you needed comfort to prepare you to become a safe presence for someone else. Nothing surrendered to me must remain wasted. My beloved child, think about Joseph again. For years his life looked as though it had moved farther from the dream I gave him. Betrayal carried him away from home. Faithfulness did not immediately bring freedom. Even after he helped another person, he was forgotten. From the outside, those years seemed like delay without meaning. But I was shaping something beneath the delay. I was forming judgment, patience, discipline, and the ability to carry responsibility without becoming ruled by bitterness. When the appointed moment came, the hidden preparation became visible. You often want the position before the preparation feels complete. You want the answer before the waiting has finished its work. You want to know why before the experience has produced the perspective needed to understand. I am not angry with you for wanting clarity. I know uncertainty is tiring, but meaning is not always visible while it is being formed. There are lessons you are learning now that you will recognize only when another person needs the wisdom you gained here. There are boundaries growing inside you because you finally learned what peace costs. There is compassion developing because you know what it feels like to smile while hurting. There is courage becoming quieter and stronger because you have continued without applause. You may call the season unproductive because it did not give you the outcome you expected. I call attention to what it has built within you. Purpose does not always begin with a platform, a title, or a dramatic assignment. It often begins in ordinary faithfulness. It begins when you speak gently because you know how harsh words can remain in a heart. It begins when you listen without rushing because you remember what it felt like to be unheard. It begins when you choose honesty after learning what hiding can cost. It begins when you use your experience to make another person's path less lonely. Do not overlook the meaning already appearing in your daily life because it does not look impressive enough. I've always worked through small things. A shepherd's staff became part of a nation's deliverance. A widow's small supply became enough for another day. A young boy's simple meal became provision for a crowd. A quiet act of obedience can carry more purpose than a visible achievement born from fear. You keep asking, what am I supposed to do with my life? Sometimes the next answer is not a complete plan. Sometimes it is simply, be faithful with what is in front of you. Love the person beside you. Keep the promise you made. Complete the honest task. Rest when your body needs rest. Speak the truth where silence has become harmful. Take one step toward the work that keeps returning to your heart. Meaning grows through repeated faithfulness. My beloved child, do not compare your purpose with another person's calling. Their life may be visible while yours is developing quietly. Their season may involve gathering while yours involves planting. Their path may move quickly while yours requires healing before expansion. Different timing does not mean smaller value. A tree that grows slowly can still offer deep shade. A river does not become useless because it takes a winding path toward the sea. Your journey has its own shape. I know you have wondered whether you started too late, lost too much time, or made too many wrong turns. But I am not limited by the calendar you use to condemn yourself. I can restore direction without pretending the lost years never happened. I can gather wisdom from the detours. I can teach you to walk differently because of what you now understand. Your story does not need to look untouched in order to become meaningful. Sometimes the repaired vessel carries water with greater care because it knows where it once cracked. Take a slow breath now. Think about one experience you have called wasted. Do not force an explanation. Do not invent a lesson before it becomes clear. Simply place it before me and say, show me what can still grow from this. Meaning often arrives gradually. It may appear through a conversation, a new desire, a boundary, a burden for someone else's pain, or a strength you did not realize had formed. Pay attention to what keeps stirring in your heart with compassion rather than anxiety. Notice what kind of suffering you now understand. Notice where your presence brings calm. Notice what truth you wish someone had spoken to you earlier. These clues may be part of the purpose developing within you. My beloved child, your life is not random noise. You are not simply moving from one problem to another until time runs out. There is still direction, even when you cannot see the full design. There is still purpose, even when your current assignment feels ordinary. There is still meaning even in a season that has not yet explained itself. Keep walking with me. Do not abandon the story because this chapter feels slow. The roots are still growing. The foundation is still being strengthened. The person you are becoming is still being formed beneath the surface. And soon you will need to understand this more deeply. Healing is happening in you, even when you cannot see it. My beloved child, stay close to me. The roots are still growing. The foundation is still being strengthened. Healing is happening within you, even when nothing on the surface appears dramatic enough to prove it. I know you have been searching for clearer evidence. You wanted to wake one morning and feel completely different. You wanted the old ache to disappear, the fear to become silent, and the memories to lose their power all at once. You imagined healing would arrive like a door suddenly opening with light filling every dark room inside you. But much of the deepest healing happens quietly. It happens when you choose not to send the angry message. It happens when you pause before assuming the worst. It happens when a familiar trigger still hurts, but it no longer controls the entire day. It happens when you speak honestly instead of disappearing. It happens when you rest without explaining why you deserve it. My beloved child, these changes may seem small, but they are not small to me. You have been measuring healing only by what has completely disappeared. I want you to notice what has become softer, slower, wiser, and more honest. Perhaps the fear still visits, but now you recognize its voice. Perhaps the memory still returns, but now you do not build your home inside it. Perhaps you still feel tired, but now you understand that exhaustion is a signal, not a moral failure. Perhaps you still struggle to trust, but now you are learning to choose safe people instead of closing every door. This is healing. It may not look impressive from the outside. Others may not know how much courage it took to respond differently in one ordinary moment. But I know. I saw the old reaction rise. I saw you breathe. I saw you choose a new response. I saw the space between pain and action become wider. That space is evidence of restoration. My beloved child, think about how a broken bone heals beneath the skin. At first, there may be no visible sign that strength is returning. Yet inside the body is rebuilding what was damaged, joining what was separated, and preparing the place to bear weight again. Your heart is doing something similar. Tenderness does not mean nothing is healing. Sensitivity does not mean you are moving backward. Sometimes the place feels more noticeable because numbness is fading. When feeling returns to a part of you that had gone quiet for survival, it may ache before it becomes strong. Do not panic when that happens. You may cry over something you thought you had finished grieving. You may become frightened in a situation that resembles the past. Do not say, "I have lost all my progress." Healing is not a straight road. Some wounds need to be met more than once because each season gives you enough strength to face another layer. I am not taking you in circles. I am leading you deeper. Remember the man whose sight returned gradually. At first he saw people like trees walking. The healing was real, but his vision was not yet clear. I did not shame him for seeing imperfectly. I remained with him until clarity came. My beloved child, I am as patient with you. You may see certain truths only partly. You may understand that you are loved, yet still struggle to receive love. You may know that the past does not define you, yet still feel shame when a memory appears. Partial clarity is not failure. Do not demand from yourself in one moment what I am patiently forming across a season. You spent years developing some patterns you now want gone immediately. Fear learned its pathways through repetition. Self-criticism became familiar through many voices. Your body learned to stay alert because it believed alertness kept you safe. Those patterns can change, but force will not heal what fear created. Harshness will not teach your heart safety. You cannot threaten yourself into peace. You cannot shame yourself into wholeness. What is wounded needs truth, patience, consistency, and care. This is why I keep inviting you back to small practices. One honest prayer, one healthy boundary, one moment of rest, one conversation where you say what you feel, one decision not to compare your life with another person's appearance, one night when you refuse to rehearse tomorrow's pain. Small choices become new pathways. My beloved child, water shapes stone through steady movement, not sudden violence. In the same way, repeated truth is reshaping places inside you that once seemed permanently hardened. Do not despise the quiet work. You are becoming more aware of what steals your peace. You recover more quickly after difficult moments. You are learning that another person's mood does not have to become your responsibility. You are beginning to notice when your body needs rest before complete exhaustion arrives. You are choosing deeper healing instead of temporary distraction. These are signs that life is returning. Look at the way you respond to pain now. There was a time when you buried everything, pretended, and kept moving until you could no longer feel your own heart. Now you are learning to stop and listen. There was a time when every mistake became a reason to hate yourself. Now you are learning to correct your path without destroying your identity. There was a time when one person's rejection felt like a verdict on your worth. Now you are beginning to understand that another person's choice cannot rewrite what I call valuable, that is, progress. Do not dismiss it because it arrived quietly. My beloved child, there will still be difficult days. Healing does not create a life without sadness, disappointment, or uncertainty. It creates a heart that knows where to return when those things arrive. You are learning to return to truth. You are learning to return to your breath. You are learning to return to my presence instead of allowing panic to become your only guide. Each return matters. Take a slow breath now. Place your hand over your heart if that feels comfortable. Do not ask whether you are completely healed. Ask a gentler question. What is different in me now? Perhaps you speak more kindly to yourself. Perhaps you leave unhealthy conversations sooner. Perhaps you no longer chase every person who becomes distant. Perhaps you can sit with sadness without believing it will last forever. Give thanks for that small sign. Do not turn gratitude into pressure to be finished. Simply recognize that the rebuilding is real. My beloved child, I am not late in your healing. I have not forgotten the places that still ache. I am working with a patience deeper than your frustration and a care stronger than your fear. Keep allowing the process to unfold. Keep choosing what gives your heart room to breathe. Keep returning when old patterns call you backward. You are not finished, but you are being restored. And as you begin to trust the healing you cannot always see, you will become ready for another kind of trust. You do not need to see the whole road to take the next step. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun to understand that healing can be real even when it is quiet. Now I want to teach you how to move when the next part of the road is not yet visible. You have been waiting for certainty. You want to know how the situation will end before you take another step. You want proof that the choice will work, that the door will open, that the person will understand, and that the path will not lead to another disappointment. I know why. You have followed roads before that ended in pain. You trusted plans that changed. You believed promises that did not last. So now your heart asks for a complete map before it agrees to move. My beloved child, life rarely unfolds that way. Most of the time, I do not show you the whole road. I show you enough for the next faithful step. You may call that uncertainty. I call it an invitation to trust. There is a difference between being lost and being unable to see far ahead. A traveler walking through morning fog may still be on the right road. The distance is hidden, but the ground beneath each step remains real. You are not always lost because you cannot see far. Sometimes you are simply being asked to walk slowly. You keep asking me to explain the ending while I am speaking about the present. You ask, will this relationship last? I ask, can you be honest today? You ask, will this work succeed? I ask, can you complete the task in front of you with integrity? You ask, will I ever feel whole? I ask, can you receive the care available in this moment? My beloved child, the next step is often smaller than the answer you are demanding. Fear makes every decision feel final. It tells you that one wrong move will destroy the future. It makes you stand still, not because there is no direction, but because you are afraid of choosing without perfect certainty. But refusing to move is also a choice. Sometimes the clearest direction comes only after you begin walking. Remember the priests carrying the ark toward the Jordan. The water did not open while they stood far from the river asking for proof. Their feet touched the edge before the way became visible. Faith did not ignore the river. Faith stepped toward it because I had spoken. My beloved child, I am not asking you to act recklessly. Wisdom asks questions. Wisdom gathers what can be known. Wisdom listens, waits, and seeks counsel when needed. But wisdom also recognizes when more thinking has stopped producing clarity and has become fear circling the same place. You know that feeling. You examine the same options again. You replay the same conversation. You ask the same question in different words. You wait for a feeling of complete peace that never arrives because your nervous system has learned to distrust every unknown. At some point, you must decide whether you will obey what is clear, even while other parts remain unclear. Perhaps what is clear is that you need to speak honestly. Perhaps you need to leave a pattern that keeps harming you. Perhaps you need to begin the work before you feel ready. Perhaps you need to rest instead of forcing another answer. Perhaps you need to apologize, ask for help, set a boundary, or stop chasing what keeps moving away. Do not overlook clear truth because you are still waiting for complete understanding. My beloved child, you have survived many chapters that made no sense while you were living through them. There were endings you resisted that later protected you. There were delays you hated that gave you time to become wiser. There were closed doors that redirected you away from places where you would have lost more than you realized. There were unanswered questions that slowly changed from urgent demands into lessons you could finally understand. Not every painful event will receive a simple explanation. I will not ask you to pretend every loss was easy or every wound was necessary. But your inability to understand something today does not mean understanding will never come. Some truth requires distance. Some clarity requires growth. Some answers become visible only after your heart is no longer standing inside the shock of what happened. You have been trying to read the whole chapter while still living inside an unfinished sentence. Give the story room to continue. My beloved child, take one slow breath. Think about the decision that has been exhausting you. Now separate what you know from what you fear. What do you know is true? What is your responsibility? What choice reflects honesty, wisdom, and self-respect? What belongs to another person? What belongs to timing? What belongs entirely in my hands? You do not need an answer for every question before taking the next step that truth has already shown you. A lamp is useful because it gives light where your feet are now. If it illuminated every mile at once, you might become distracted by distant turns and miss the stone directly in front of you. I give light for the place where you are standing. Receive that light. Take the step, then allow the next part to become visible in its time. My beloved child, you may make mistakes along the way. Trust does not mean you will interpret everything perfectly. It means you believe I can guide, correct, and redirect you without abandoning you. You are not walking on a narrow wire above disaster. You are walking with me. If you move with honesty and later discover that adjustment is needed, I can meet you there. If a door closes, I can guide you toward another. If you become confused, I can slow you down. If fear returns, I can remind you what is true. You do not have to protect your entire future through one flawless decision. That pressure is too heavy for a human heart. Let me carry the larger story. Your part is to remain teachable. Listen, notice. Act on what is clear. Release what is not. You do not have to solve everything tonight. Then rest without reopening the decision every hour. My beloved child, there is freedom in accepting that some things will remain unfinished for a while. A question can remain unanswered without becoming a threat. A path can remain partly hidden without being unsafe. A season can remain confusing without being meaningless. You can move forward without dragging certainty behind you like a heavy suitcase. Trust travels lighter. You are learning to take one step then another without demanding that the whole road explain itself. And as you do, you may notice something else. Part of your fear of moving forward comes from having carried so much of your inner life alone. You have walked through crowded rooms, close relationships, and ordinary conversations while feeling that no one truly saw what was happening inside you. Stay close to me, my beloved child. We are ready to speak about the loneliness of being present, but never truly seen. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have learned that you do not need to see the whole road before taking the next step. But I also know why walking forward has felt so lonely. You have carried much of your inner life without feeling truly known. There have been rooms filled with people where you still felt alone. There have been conversations where you answered every question except the one your heart was asking. There have been relationships where you were present, helpful, available, and dependable. Yet the deepest parts of you remained hidden. Others saw your face, but they did not always know the fear beneath your silence, the exhaustion beneath your patience, or the questions you kept carrying after everyone else had gone home. My beloved child, being surrounded is not the same as being seen. You learned to present the version of yourself that felt safest, the capable version, the calm version, the version that could listen without asking for much, the version that knew how to make other people comfortable. You did not create that version because you wanted to deceive anyone. You created it because honesty once felt dangerous. Perhaps you shared something tender and watched another person dismiss it. Perhaps someone used your vulnerability as a weapon later. Perhaps you tried to explain what hurt, but the person hurried past your words, changed the subject, or made your pain seem inconvenient. Your heart remembered those moments. It decided that being partly known was safer than being fully exposed. So you learned to offer pieces, enough truth to appear open, enough emotion to remain human, but not enough for anyone to reach the places where rejection would hurt most. My beloved child, I understand why you protected yourself. It was an attempt to preserve what had already been wounded, but hiding has a cost. Each time you say you are fine, when you are breaking inside, the distance between your true heart and your visible life grows wider. Each time you laugh away a need, change the subject, or apologize for feeling deeply, you reinforce the belief that the real you is too much for other people to hold. You begin to feel trapped inside a role you once created for safety. You become the strong one who is not allowed to need strength. You become the listener who is rarely asked what remains unspoken. You become the person everyone trusts, while secretly wondering whether anyone would stay if you stopped performing stability. My beloved child, your loneliness is not proof that you are unlovable. It is often the result of being visible without being known. You cannot receive the comfort meant for your real heart while only offering others a carefully edited version of your pain. This does not mean you must tell everything to everyone. Wisdom matters. Some people have not earned access to your private story. Some people are curious but not caring. Some know how to gather information but not how to hold another person's heart with patience. I am not asking you to become exposed in unsafe places. I am teaching you to recognize safe ones. A safe person does not rush your healing. A safe person does not make your pain about themselves. A safe person can listen without immediately correcting, comparing, preaching, or demanding that you recover quickly. A safe person respects the word no. A safe person does not punish honesty. My beloved child, begin slowly. You do not need to tear down every wall in one night. Open one window, offer one honest sentence. Tell one trusted person, I have been carrying more than I have shown. Say, I do not need an answer. I just need someone to listen. Say, I am afraid that if people see how tired I am, they will think less of me. Small honesty can become the beginning of real connection. Remember the woman at the well. She came when the heat was strong, perhaps because the quieter hour allowed her to avoid the eyes and judgments of others. She carried a history people likely reduced to whispers. Yet when I spoke with her, I did not treat her as a rumor, a failure, or a problem to solve. I saw her. I spoke to the truth of her life without removing her dignity. I offered living water to the person others may have considered unworthy of attention. My beloved child, I see you with that same clarity. I see what you show. I see what you hide. I see the sentence you almost speak before fear changes it. I see the tears you stop because you do not want anyone to worry. I see the need for comfort beneath the habit of helping everyone else. Nothing in your hidden heart makes me turn away. You do not need to become easier, quieter, or less complicated for me to remain near. But I also want your earthly life to contain relationships where truth is allowed to breathe. You were created for connection, not constant emotional management. You deserve conversations where you do not have to calculate every word. You deserve moments where silence does not need to be filled with performance. You deserve to be known as more than useful, strong, cheerful, spiritual, or dependable. You are allowed to say that something hurt. You are allowed to ask for reassurance without treating the need as shameful. You are allowed to admit that you do not have the strength to carry another person's burden today. My beloved child, vulnerability does involve risk. I will not lie to you about that. Some people may misunderstand. Some may not know how to respond. But the answer is not to disappear forever behind emotional walls. The answer is to grow in discernment. Let trust be built through consistency, not promises. Watch how people respond to small truths before giving them larger ones. Notice whether their actions match their words. Notice whether you feel more grounded after speaking with them, or more confused and diminished. Healthy connection does not require you to abandon wisdom. It asks you to stop letting old betrayal make every new person guilty before they have done anything wrong. Take a slow breath now. Think about the version of yourself you show most often. What does that version protect? What does it fear would happen if you became more honest? Bring that fear to me. Then think of one safe place where you can practice being a little more known, not fully exposed, not without boundaries, just more honest than before. My beloved child, loneliness begins to loosen when the gap between who you are and who you allow others to see becomes smaller. You are not too much. You are not too complicated. You are not a burden because your heart has depth. I created you with thoughts, longings, wounds, questions, and gifts that deserve to be met with care. As you begin allowing yourself to be known, another habit may become clearer. You have been measuring your hidden struggle against the polished lives other people display. Stay close to me. We are ready to speak about comparison. My beloved child, stay close to me right here. You have begun to understand how loneliness grows when your real heart remains hidden. Now I want you to notice another habit that has quietly deepened that loneliness. You keep measuring your journey against someone else's life. You look at what another person has achieved, how confident they appear, how peaceful their home seems, and something inside you immediately begins to calculate. You ask why they are farther ahead. You ask whether your slower progress means you have failed. My beloved child, comparison rarely tells you the truth. You are comparing your private fears with someone else's public appearance. You are placing your unfinished questions beside the answers they chose to display. You are measuring the days when you barely held yourself together against the moments they selected and shared. You know how much can remain hidden behind a calm face because you have hidden much yourself. People have looked at you and assumed you were doing well when your heart was exhausted. They saw you functioning and did not see the effort required. Why then do you assume another person's visible life tells the whole story? The relationship you envy may contain loneliness no photograph can reveal. The success you admire may have demanded a price you would never choose to pay. Comparison takes those fragments and turns them into evidence against you. It says their arrival proves your delay. It says their beauty proves your lack. It says their opportunity proves you were forgotten. It says their ease proves your struggle has no purpose. But another person's blessing is not proof of your rejection. Their season does not cancel yours. Their open door does not mean every door meant for you has closed. Their pace does not determine whether you are late. Remember Peter when he looked toward John and asked about the path prepared for him. I answered by bringing Peter back to his own calling. What I chose for another disciple was not Peter's assignment to manage. My beloved child, the same truth stands for you. You lose peace when you keep turning your head toward roads I did not ask you to walk. You cannot hear my direction clearly while constantly studying someone else's map. Their life has different responsibilities, wounds, gifts, timing, and lessons. Do not demand that your life bloom in another person's season. Some fields are planted in spring. Some trees bear fruit later. Some roots must grow deeper because future branches will need greater strength. You have called yourself behind because you saw no visible harvest. Yet I may have been strengthening the ground beneath you so that what grows will not collapse under its own weight. My beloved child, slower does not mean abandoned. Quiet does not mean empty. Hidden does not mean unimportant. You have survived conditions another person may never have faced. You have carried responsibilities they may never have known. You have had to heal while continuing to work, care, serve, and remain present. Do not judge your progress without remembering where you began. There was a time when one painful conversation could control your whole week. Now you recover more quickly. There was a time when you accepted treatment that disturbed your peace because you feared being alone. Now you are learning to set boundaries. There was a time when every mistake became proof that you were worthless. Now you are learning to correct yourself without condemnation. There was a time when you ignored your exhaustion. Now you are beginning to listen. This is growth. Do not dismiss it because it does not look like another person's achievement. Heaven does not measure your life by applause, speed, possessions, followers, titles, or visible recognition. I look at faithfulness. I look at the courage it takes to choose truth after years of hiding. I look at the restraint it takes not to return to an old pattern. I look at the kindness you offer after pain could have made you cruel. I look at the quiet decision to continue when no one celebrates the effort. My beloved child, those things matter to me. Comparison makes you forget your own evidence of grace. It trains your eyes to search for what is missing until you can no longer recognize what has already grown. It can turn another person's joy into a personal accusation. It can make gratitude feel impossible. It can make you hurry into decisions that do not fit your life because you fear being left behind. Do not let another person's timeline push you into a door I never opened. You do not need to marry because someone else did. You do not need to achieve a certain title because someone younger reached it. You do not need to force a dream because you fear time is running out. You do not need to prove your life is meaningful by making it look impressive. Some sacred work happens where almost no one is watching. A parent remaining patient through an exhausting day. A wounded heart deciding not to pass its pain forward. A worker completing an ordinary task with honesty. A friend listening when no public reward will come. These moments may never become visible to the crowd, but they shape a life. Take a slow breath now. Think of the person whose life makes you feel most behind. Simply return each journey to its proper place. Say their path is theirs, my path is mine. I can bless what is good in their life without using it to wound my own heart. You can admire without imitating. You can celebrate without shrinking. You can learn without erasing your own design. You can witness another My beloved child, my provision is not a small table where another person's portion leaves nothing for you. What I give them belongs to their story. What I am preparing in you belongs to yours. Return your attention to what is in your hands today. What truth are you being asked to practice? What relationship needs honest care? What task needs faithful attention? What part of your heart needs rest instead of another hour of comparison? Begin there. You will find peace when you stop trying to live several lives at once. You were created to inhabit your own story fully. Notice its lessons. Honor its pace. Receive its ordinary gifts. Let its difficult chapters deepen you without convincing you that everyone else received an easier and more valuable life. My beloved child, you are not behind in becoming the person I am forming. You are not disqualified because your path has taken unexpected turns. You are not forgotten because your progress has been quiet. Keep your eyes on me and on the faithful step before you. As comparison begins to loosen, you may notice how much energy you have spent trying to keep pace with everyone, support everyone, and prove your worth through usefulness. Your heart has been giving while running low. Stay close to me. We are ready to speak about why you cannot keep pouring from an empty heart. My beloved child, stay close to me. As comparison begins to loosen its grip, you may finally notice how tired you have become from trying to keep pace with everyone, support everyone, and prove your worth through usefulness. Your heart has been giving while running low. I see the silence that follows the conversation. I see the heaviness that settles when no one asks what the helping cost you. I see you return to your own needs and discover that you have no strength left to meet them. My beloved child, you cannot keep pouring from an empty heart. You learned early that being helpful made you valuable. Perhaps praise came when you were useful. Perhaps peace remained in the room only when you managed everyone else's feelings. Perhaps you discovered that people stayed close when you gave, listened, fixed, and expected little in return. It became the way you tried to secure love. You began to believe that saying no would disappoint people, that resting would make you selfish, and that needing care would make you difficult. You became skilled at noticing what everyone else required while ignoring the quiet signals inside your own body. You called it kindness. Sometimes it was kindness, but sometimes it was fear wearing kindness as a mask. Fear of being rejected, fear of being misunderstood, fear that if you stopped giving, people would stop choosing you. My beloved child, love that depends entirely on your usefulness is not the kind of love your heart was created to live beneath. I did not create you to earn belonging by constant exhaustion. You are not valuable because you are always available. You are not lovable because you never need anything. You are not faithful because you say yes while resentment grows quietly inside you. Real love is not measured by how completely you abandon yourself. Remember how I often withdrew from the crowds. People came with real needs. Some were sick, some were grieving, some were searching for truth. Yet I still stepped away to pray, rest, and remain close to the Father. I did not heal every person in every town on the same day. I did not answer every demand placed before me. I did not allow urgency to replace purpose. My beloved child, if I made room for rest while carrying a holy calling, why do you believe rest makes you less devoted? Rest is not the enemy of service. Rest protects the heart from turning service into resentment. A lamp cannot keep burning if no oil is added. You have been trying to brighten every room while ignoring the level inside your own vessel. Then you blame yourself when the flame becomes weak. The problem is not that you lack love. The problem is that you have been giving without receiving. You offer encouragement, but rarely allow anyone to encourage you. You make room for tears, but hide your own. You ask others what they need, then answer that you are fine before they can ask the same question. You know how to serve, but receiving care makes you uncomfortable because receiving requires you to stop performing. My beloved child, let someone care for you without immediately repaying them. Let a kind word remain a gift. Let a meal, a conversation, a prayer, or a helping hand reach you without turning it into a debt you must settle. You do not have to prove that you deserve the care. You can simply receive it. This may feel strange at first. You may want to change the subject when attention turns toward your heart. You may laugh at your exhaustion, minimize your pain, or quickly ask how the other person is doing. Pause before you escape. Notice the discomfort. Then remain present long enough to let kindness enter. Receiving does not make you weak. It reminds you that you are part of the human family you spend so much energy serving. My beloved child, you also need boundaries that protect what I am restoring within you. A boundary is not punishment. It is not revenge. It is not a wall built to make others suffer. A healthy boundary tells the truth about what you can carry without losing your peace. You can say, I cannot do that today. You can say, I need time before answering. You can say, I care about you, but I cannot take responsibility for this decision. You can say, I am not available for a conversation where I am repeatedly disrespected. Those words do not make you cruel. They make your love honest. Without boundaries, kindness becomes confused with self-neglect. You keep giving until your body becomes tired, your mind becomes resentful, and your heart begins withdrawing from people you once wanted to help. Then you wonder why service no longer feels joyful. My beloved child, resentment is often a signal that you have been offering what you did not truly have permission or strength to give. Listen to that signal without shame. Ask yourself, did I say yes because love led me, or because fear would not let me say no? Did I offer help from abundance, or from the belief that I must remain necessary? Did I take responsibility for something that belongs to another adult? Did I ignore my own needs because I wanted to avoid someone else's disappointment? These questions are not accusations. They are invitations back to freedom. You can care without carrying. You can support without rescuing. You can listen without becoming responsible for every emotion you hear. You can love someone and still allow them to face the consequences of their own choices. My beloved child, remember the wise virgins who kept oil for their own lamps. They could not give away what was necessary for their own readiness. Their preparation was not selfish. It was responsible. You also need oil that remains within you. Time with me. Sleep that is not treated like a luxury. Food, movement, silence, honest friendship, and moments when you are not solving anything. They are part of how I sustain you. Take a slow breath now. Think about the place where you feel most drained. What have you been giving there? What have you been afraid would happen if you stopped? Bring that fear to me. Then choose one small boundary, one honest request, or one act of rest. Do not attempt to rebuild your whole life tonight. Begin by refusing to abandon yourself in one familiar moment. My beloved child, your needs matter too. Your peace matters. Your body matters. Your inner world is not less important than the people you have been helping. I want your service to flow from love, not from fear. I want your generosity to come from a heart that is being replenished, not from a heart quietly disappearing. Let me fill what has been emptied. Let others offer what you have always believed you must provide alone. And when you finally become still enough to receive, you may encounter another difficult feeling. You may pray, wait, and wonder why I seem quiet. Stay close to me, my beloved child. My silence has never meant my absence. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun to slow down. You have started to notice how empty your heart became while giving so much to everyone else. And now in the quiet, another question rises. Why do I seem silent when you need me most? You pray, but nothing changes quickly. You ask for direction, but the road remains unclear. You wait for relief, but the same burden greets you in the morning. Then fear begins to whisper that perhaps I have stepped away. My beloved child, my silence has never meant my absence. There are seasons when I speak through clear answers, open doors, and sudden peace. There are also seasons when my presence is quieter. In those moments, I may not remove the uncertainty immediately, but I am holding you within it. You have mistaken quietness for distance because human silence often wounded you. Someone became silent before leaving. Someone withheld words to punish you. Someone watched you struggle and chose not to respond. So when heaven feels quiet, your heart connects my silence with those old experiences. But I am not the person who abandoned you. I am not using silence to manipulate you. I am not standing far away waiting for you to become more worthy of an answer. Sometimes silence is the room where I teach your heart to recognize a deeper kind of presence. When a child rests against a loving parent, words are not always necessary. Safety can be communicated through nearness, through steady breathing, through the quiet assurance that someone trustworthy has not moved. My beloved child, I have not moved. You may not feel me in the way you expected. You may not receive the sign you requested. But feeling is not the only evidence of truth. The sun does not disappear when clouds cover it. Its warmth may feel weaker and its light may become hidden, but it remains above the weather. Your difficult season is weather. My faithfulness is the sky beyond it. Remember Lazarus. The message reached me that someone I loved was sick, yet I did not arrive according to the timing everyone expected. To those waiting, the delay felt painful and confusing. It may have seemed like I cared too little or came too late. But delay did not mean indifference. I was still working within a story they could not yet see. My beloved child, I know that comparison makes waiting harder. You hear someone else speak about an answered prayer, a sudden opportunity, a restored relationship, or a clear direction. Then you look at your own unanswered request and wonder what is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you because your timeline looks different. Another person's answer is not proof that you were overlooked. Their testimony is not evidence against your faith. You do not know what I am building through their story, and you cannot yet see everything I am building through yours. Do not measure my love by speed. A quick answer is not always greater care. A delayed answer is not always refusal. Sometimes I protect you through waiting. Sometimes I prepare you before giving what you requested. Sometimes I change your desire because what you first asked for could not carry the peace you hoped it would bring. Sometimes the answer is growing beneath circumstances that still look unchanged. You may be praying for a door while I am strengthening the person who will walk through it. You may be praying for a relationship while I am teaching you boundaries that will protect your heart within it. You may be praying for relief while I am showing you where your life must become gentler, truer, and more sustainable. My beloved child, I know waiting is difficult. I will not ask you to pretend it does not hurt. You are allowed to tell me that you are disappointed. You are allowed to say that you are tired of asking. You are allowed to admit that faith feels harder when no answer appears. Honesty does not offend me. I would rather receive your honest grief than watch you perform confidence while resentment grows in silence. Bring me the questions. Why has this taken so long? Why did that door close? Why did the person leave? Why did healing not happen the way you hoped? I may not answer every question immediately, but I will meet you inside the asking. My presence is not only found in explanations, it is also found in the strength that arrives for one more day. It is found in the friend who calls at the right moment. It is found in the wisdom that keeps you from returning to what harmed you. It is found in the small calm that enters your chest after the tears. It is found in the fact that you are here still reaching, still listening. My beloved child, do not overlook quiet forms of grace because you are waiting for something dramatic. You ask for a lighthouse, but I may give you enough moonlight for the next few steps. You ask for the whole answer, but I may send one sentence. You ask for the storm to end, but I may first teach you that the boat is not empty. Remember the disciples on the road to Emmaus. They believed hope had ended. They walked beside me while speaking about their disappointment, yet they did not recognize me at first. I was present before they understood that I was present. You may also look back one day and realize that I was walking beside you through moments when you believed you were alone. My beloved child, continue praying, but release the demand that my answer must arrive in one specific form. Stay open. The guidance may come through a closed door, a growing uneasiness, a repeated truth-wise counsel, or a peace that remains after fear has finished speaking. Learn my character, not only my methods. If you know my character, you will not assume abandonment every time my methods surprise you. I am patient. I am truthful. I do not shame the weary. I do not despise the confused. I do not forget the one who waits. Take a slow breath now. Think of the prayer that feels most unanswered. Hold it before me without forcing hope and without feeding despair. Say, I do not understand this silence, but I will not call it abandonment. That sentence is enough for this moment. Trust does not always sound triumphant. Sometimes it sounds like a tired heart choosing not to walk away. My beloved child, I am closer than your fear suggests. I am present in the waiting. I am present in the unanswered question. I am present in the night before clarity comes. And as you learn not to interpret my silence through the wounds people gave you, you will begin noticing another voice that has been shaping your inner world. It speaks harshly. It repeats old judgments. It sounds like truth because you have heard it for so long. Stay close to me. We are ready to separate my voice from the voice of your wounds. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have begun to understand that my silence is not abandonment. Now I want to help you recognize another voice that has lived inside you. It is the voice of your wounds. It speaks quickly after a mistake. It tells you that you always ruin things. It says you are too much, not enough, difficult to love, slow to change, and impossible to understand. My beloved child, that voice did not begin with me. It was formed from moments when people spoke carelessly to you. It grew from rejection, criticism, comparison, shame. Over time, those outside voices moved inward. They became familiar. Eventually, you began repeating their words to yourself. Because the voice is inside your own mind, you assume it must be honest. But familiar does not mean true. You would never speak to someone you love the way you sometimes speak to yourself. If a friend made a mistake, you would remind them that one failure does not erase their goodness. If they felt tired, you would not call them lazy. If they were grieving, you would not demand that they recover immediately. Yet when you struggle, your inner voice becomes merciless. It keeps a record of every weakness. It turns one difficult day into proof that you are going backward. It compares your private pain with another person's visible strength. It uses old failures as evidence that your future will never change. My beloved child, this is not wisdom. Wisdom tells the truth without destroying dignity. Wisdom corrects a choice without condemning the whole person. Wisdom says, this needs attention. The wounded voice says, you are the problem. Learn the difference. My voice may challenge you, but it will also lead you toward a next step. My voice may expose what is harmful, but it will never leave you trapped in hopelessness. I do not call you worthless in order to make you better. I do not humiliate you into healing. I speak truth with love because love creates enough safety for change. Remember Gideon. He saw himself as weak, small, and unqualified. His circumstances had taught him to think in the language of limitation. Yet when I called him, I did not repeat the fearful name he had given himself. I called him a mighty warrior before he felt like one. I was not ignoring his fear. I was speaking to what fear could not see. My beloved child, I also see more in you than the wound sees. The wound sees the person who failed. I see the person who learned. The wound sees someone who was rejected. I see someone still worthy of faithful love. The wound sees weakness. I see a heart that has carried more than most people know and still remains capable of compassion. Stop allowing pain to be the only narrator of your story. Pain can describe what happened. It cannot accurately define who you are. Begin paying attention to the specific words you use against yourself. When something goes wrong, do you say, I am foolish? When someone becomes distant, do you say, I am unlovable? When progress feels slow, do you say, I never change? When you need rest, do you say, I am weak? My beloved child, these are not harmless sentences. Words repeated often become pathways, but pathways can change. You can stop, notice the old sentence, and choose a truer one. Instead of saying, I ruin everything, say, I made a mistake, and I can respond with honesty. Instead of saying, no one will ever understand me, say, some people have not understood me, but safe connection is still possible. Instead of saying, I am weak because I am tired, say, my body is asking for care. Instead of saying, I will never heal, say, healing is already happening in ways I am still learning to recognize. This is not pretending. It is refusing to exaggerate pain into a permanent identity. My beloved child, compassion is not dishonesty. You fear that speaking gently to yourself will make you careless. You believe harshness keeps you disciplined. But cruelty does not create lasting change. It creates hiding anxiety and exhaustion. A frightened heart may obey for a moment, but it cannot live peacefully under constant threat. You need an inner voice that knows how to guide without attacking. You need correction that leaves room for grace. You need truth that helps you stand, not truth distorted into a weapon that keeps you on the floor. Remember how I responded to the woman brought before me in shame. Others reduced her to the worst thing they knew about her. They wanted her identity to be decided by one moment. I did not deny that change was needed, but I refused to join their cruelty. I protected her dignity, then called her toward a different life. That is how I speak to you. I do not excuse what harms you or others. I also do not agree with the voice that says you are beyond restoration. My beloved child, the words you speak inwardly affect what you believe is possible. If you repeatedly call yourself hopeless, you will stop trying. If you call yourself unworthy, you will resist healthy love. If you call yourself a burden, you will hide your needs until they become unbearable. If you call yourself a failure, every new opportunity will feel like another place to be exposed. Your inner language shapes the room where your heart must live. Make that room gentler deep inside your heart. Take a slow breath now. Think of the sentence your inner critic repeats most often. Where did you first hear it? Who benefited when you believed it? What has it cost you to keep repeating it? Now, bring that sentence to me. Do not fight it with an empty compliment you cannot believe. Replace it with something honest and grounded in truth. You are not required to say everything is perfect. You can say, I am struggling, but I am still worthy of patience. You do not have to say, I am never afraid. You can say, fear is present, but it does not have to lead me. You do not have to say, I have no weaknesses. You can say, my weakness does not cancel my love or my purpose. My beloved child, practice this slowly. The old voice has had years of repetition. Do not become discouraged if it returns. Each time you notice and redirect it, you are teaching your mind a new language. You are not only changing a thought, you are changing the way you accompany yourself through life. On difficult days, speak as someone who knows you belong to me. Speak with honesty. Speak with patience. Speak with the same mercy you offer people you love. I am asking you to stop agreeing with cruelty. As the voice of your wounds becomes quieter, your heart will have more room to hear hope. And when hope is no longer drowned out by accusation, it can teach your tired heart something it has forgotten: how to rest again today. My beloved child, stay close to me. As the voice of your wounds becomes quieter, your heart finally has room to hear something gentler. Hope is speaking, not the hope that promises every circumstance will change by morning, or depends on one answer arriving exactly as you imagined. I am speaking of hope, the kind that says this difficult chapter is not the whole story, the kind that keeps breathing when certainty is gone, the kind that lets a tired heart rest because it no longer believes everything depends on its own strength. My beloved child, you have often confused hope with control. You thought hoping meant expecting one outcome. When the path looked different, you assumed hope had failed you. But hope is not a contract with the future. It is trust in my presence within whatever future comes. Hope does not say, nothing painful will happen. Hope says pain will not have the final word. Hope does not say every door will open. Hope says a closed door cannot cancel my guidance. Hope does not say you will understand everything. Hope says you can keep walking while understanding is still growing. This kind of hope does not tighten your grip. It loosens it. My beloved child, your heart has been tired because it has tried to remain alert every hour. Even when your body lies down, your mind reviews conversations, searches for danger, and asks questions that cannot be answered at night. You call that resting because you are no longer moving. But stillness of the body is not always rest for the soul. Rest begins when your inner world receives permission to stop managing everything. You do not need to solve the relationship while lying in bed. You do not need to decide your entire future before sleep. You do not need to replay the mistake until shame feels satisfied. You do not need to keep watch over every person you love as though your worry is the only thing protecting them. My beloved child, let me keep watch. Remember the psalmist who said he could lie down and sleep because I made him dwell in safety. His peace did not come from controlling every threat. It came from knowing who remained awake when he closed his eyes. I do not sleep. I do not lose sight of you when you rest. I do not need your anxiety to remind me what matters. You may release the night into my hands. This may feel unfamiliar. Part of you believes rest must be earned through exhaustion. You push until nothing remains, then collapse. Even then, guilt follows you. You think about what remains unfinished. You compare your pause with another person's productivity. You tell yourself that you should be doing more. My beloved child, rest is not a reward for becoming empty. It is part of how I keep you from becoming empty. Fields were not designed to produce without interruption. Soil that never recovers eventually loses what helps life grow. Your heart is also living soil. It needs quiet. It needs unhurried prayer. It needs moments without performance. It needs laughter that serves no goal. It needs sleep that is not treated like wasted time. It needs relationships where you can be present without becoming responsible for everyone. You have feared that slowing down will make you fall behind. But what if the pace that exhausts you is not the pace I chose for you? What if rushing has made you miss the guidance you were asking me to give? What if some clarity can only be heard after the noise becomes quiet? My beloved child, remember how Elijah stood on the mountain. The wind was powerful, the ground shook, fire appeared. Yet my voice came in a quiet whisper. You often search for me in urgency because urgency feels important. But I may be waiting for you in the gentle place beyond the noise. Rest creates room for that meeting. It allows your heart to notice what fear has been shouting over. Take a slow breath now. Do not use this breath to prepare for the next task. Let it be complete by itself. Feel the air enter. Let it leave. Notice that for this moment you are not required to produce, explain, perform, rescue, or decide. You are simply here with me. My beloved child, this is not laziness. This is return. You are returning to the truth that you are a person before you are a worker. You are loved before you are useful. You belong before you achieve. You are held before you understand. Let hope support this rest. Hope tells you that pausing will not destroy your future. Hope tells you that one unfinished task will not erase your value. Hope tells you that another person's disappointment does not automatically mean you did something wrong. Hope tells you that tomorrow can be met tomorrow. You often treat quiet moments like spaces that must be filled with a screen, another responsibility, or another thought. Silence makes hidden feelings rise, and you have not always wanted to meet them. But you are stronger now. You can sit with sadness without becoming sadness. You can notice fear without obeying it. You can feel loneliness without deciding you are unloved. You can remember pain without returning to the place where it happened. My beloved child, rest is not the absence of every difficult feeling. It is the experience of no longer fighting every feeling at once. You can let an emotion pass through without building a permanent story around it. You can say, I feel afraid tonight, but fear is not my future. You can say, I feel tired, and tiredness is asking for care. You can say, I do not know what comes next, but I am not walking alone. That is hope, speaking in a voice your heart can trust. Begin with small spaces of rest. A few quiet minutes before the day begins. A walk where you do not solve anything. A meal eaten without rushing. A prayer that contains no request, only presence. A night when you stop checking for an answer that cannot arrive through another hour of worry. Do not turn rest into another task you must perform perfectly. Receive it imperfectly. Your mind may wander. Fear may return. Guilt may speak. Gently come back. Each return teaches your heart that peace is a place it is allowed to inhabit. My beloved child, you do not have to wait until life becomes easy before learning this. Rest is not reserved for the end of the journey. It is provision for the journey. Hope will keep reminding you that there is more ahead, but it will no longer force you to run toward it. You can walk, you can breathe, you can receive today without demanding that it explain tomorrow. And as your tired heart learns to rest again, you will be ready to rise differently, not driven by fear, not controlled by comparison, not chained to the past. You will rise with honesty, purpose, gratitude, and peace. Stay close to me, my beloved child. We are ready to walk forward. My beloved child, stay close to me. You have learned to rest without believing that rest will destroy your future. Do not rise carrying yesterday as a chain, or tomorrow as a threat. Rise as one who has been seen. Rise as one who is learning to live honestly. You do not need to hide your tiredness behind usefulness. Bury your questions beneath spiritual language, or pretend that every wound is already closed. Walk forward with truth. If you are tired, admit it. If you need help, ask for it. If a boundary is necessary, speak it with calmness. If an apology is yours to offer it without defending yourself. If something no longer belongs in your life, release it without turning the ending into hatred. My beloved child, honesty will make your life lighter. You have spent years managing how others see you. You measured every word, softened every need, and carried emotions that did not belong to you. That is not the peace I am leading you toward. Real peace does not require you to disappear. It allows you to remain present as your true self with wisdom, compassion, and clear boundaries. There will be people who prefer the version of you that never says no. They may call your honesty selfish, your boundaries cold, or your rest laziness. Another person's discomfort does not always mean you are doing something wrong. Sometimes it means a pattern is changing. You can be loving without surrendering your voice. You can be kind without accepting disrespect. You can forgive without reopening a door that wisdom closed. You can walk away from confusion without carrying revenge. My beloved child, this is how peace becomes practical. It enters your schedule, your conversations, your choices, and the way you treat your own body. Peace is not only a feeling you receive during prayer, it is also the courage to stop participating in what repeatedly steals your calm. As you honestly walk with purpose. You have wondered whether your life still matters after the delays, mistakes, losses, and years you believe were wasted. But purpose has been growing in places you once called empty. The comfort you needed has taught you how to comfort. The rejection you survived has taught you how important it is to make others feel seen. The confusion you endured has given you patience with people who do not yet know their next step. The boundaries you learn through pain can help you protect what is sacred without becoming hard. Nothing surrendered to me must remain meaningless. Remember Esther. For a season, much of her purpose remained hidden. She did not fully understand how her position, history, and courage would meet at the appointed moment. Yet when truth required her voice, she chose to stand where fear wanted her silent. My beloved child, purpose often appears when compassion meets courage. It may not arrive as a large platform or a dramatic calling. It may appear in one honest conversation, one person you encourage, one harmful pattern you refuse to pass forward, or one responsibility you complete with love. Do not wait for an impressive assignment before living meaningfully. Be faithful with the life in front of you. Use what you have learned. Speak the truth you once needed to hear. Offer gentleness without abandoning discernment. Let your story become a shelter for someone who believes they are alone. Your wounds do not make you qualified for every role, but healed wisdom can make your presence useful. Walk with purpose, but do not return to pressure. Purpose is not another way to earn my love. You are not valuable only when you are helping someone. Serve from fullness, not from fear. Rest when rest is needed. Let your calling breathe. My beloved child, also walk with gratitude. Gratitude does not mean pretending that everything was good. It does not require you to thank me for betrayal, abuse, grief, or the choices that harmed you. Gratitude is the ability to notice that pain was not the only truth. You were hurt, and you were also sustained. You lost things, and you also discovered strength. Some prayers remained unanswered, and grace still met you in ordinary places. There were nights when you believed you would not make it through, yet morning found you breathing. There were people who disappointed you, and there were also unexpected hands that helped carry you. There were doors that closed, and there were paths you would never have noticed if those doors had remained open. Hold both truths. Do not minimize the wound. Do not overlook the grace. Remember the 10 who were cleansed and the one who returned to give thanks. His gratitude did not create the healing, but it helped him recognize the one who had met him. Gratitude helps your heart recognize presence. Begin simply. Notice the meal before you. Notice the person who listens. Notice the strength to take another step. Notice the wisdom you have now that you once prayed to receive. Notice the moment when your chest no longer feels as tight as it once did. These are not small gifts. My beloved child, peace grows where truth, purpose, and gratitude are allowed to live together. You no longer need to wait for a perfect future before receiving peace. You do not need every question answered, every relationship repaired, every habit conquered, or every wound healed. Peace can meet you in progress. Peace can sit beside unanswered questions. Peace can remain while grief and hope occupy the same heart. This is the revelation I wanted you to receive before you left. The peace you have been searching for is not waiting at the end of a flawless life. It begins when you stop fighting to become worthy of what I already give. You are loved now. You are held now. You are guided now. You are allowed to rest now. My beloved child, do not leave this moment and immediately pick up every burden you placed down. Carry only what belongs to today. Take the next honest step. Receive help. Protect your peace. Release what you cannot control. Speak to yourself with mercy. Let hope remain gentle. Let gratitude keep your eyes open. And when fear returns, as it sometimes will, do not call yourself a failure. Return to me again. Healing is not proven by never struggling. Healing is revealed by knowing where to return. You know the way now. Return to truth. Return to breath. Return to prayer. Return to the knowledge that you are not alone. I will be with you in the morning, in the decision, in the conversation, and in the season you cannot yet understand. You are not too tired for renewal. You are not too wounded for love. You are not too late for purpose. You are not too far away for my voice to reach you. Let each step become an answer to the fear behind you. Walk forward now, my beloved child. Walk honestly. Walk with purpose. Walk with gratitude. Walk in peace. You do not have to see the whole road. You only need to take the next step with me.